Definitely here. Nigel Gunn is here. Wix. Kevin Hardesty. Simon Neep. Electron Box. Adam P. Nisai. Ian Cooper. Adam P. I've mentioned. Frank Hutchings. And it's going out. It is live. Excellent. Now, I look at the background, look at the supercomputer here. It looks kind of like almost like slight out of focus. I think that's just the focus of this particular camera I'm recording with. That's okay. Most of it's in focus. That's fine. So let me think. Let me think. No, ultraviolet sterilization. Sorry, it's my first day. Scanning. Have I ordered more ultraviolet stuff? Not really. No. Oh, yes, I have. Yes, I've ordered a real USB UVC. Plus, I've also ordered a test card to see if it is actually UVC. Happy Groundhog Day indeed, Rifleman. And Jaeger Munions. Jaeger Munions. Let me think. Who does particularly deserves a Jaeger Munion right now? Let me think of. And did anything apocalyptic happen while I was back in Glasgow? Nothing in particular. Nothing really special is happening at the moment. You could use a halogen lamp like the what you call it vid sour comment. Indeed, Rupairi. My lab, is it? I can't remember. Is my workspace? Can't remember the name. But he was pointing out that traditional tungsten halogen lamps with the quartz envelopes actually put out some UVC, but it's right at the end of the spectrum. They don't put out a lot of UVC. The glass in front of them is partly to filter that, right? But it's also largely to avoid shattered bits of red hot quartz flying out everywhere. I've had a quartz lamp above my workbench in Glasgow for a very long time with no front glass. I just repurposed an old light fitting. And it was lovely bright sunshine with a little twist of UVC possibly. So to what's particularly epic to you know what? I met a friend today who is works in the sewage of the Isle of Man. That goes into all the sort of containers and the pipes and stuff like that, and pumps poo out. So to the sewage workers, it's a dirty job, but someone's got to do it. I could Jaeger to UVC, but it's a bit antisocial as in large quantities, that UVC stuff. The gong farmers. What? That sounds like a fun job. Well, Graham Shaw, he drives a truck, a sewage truck, and the Isle of Man is very scenic, so he spends a lot of time just driving and then pumps up full of stuff and then drives and dumps it out. And it's one of those jobs, I've said it before, that there's not much competition. It's like Ralph's job as an undertaker, as a embalmer. It's considered a scary and unpleasant, dirty job. Nobody wants it. It's like doing outdoor electrical work in the rain. It's considered unpleasant, so there's less competition. Horovac. What is this? This is an old, I've just made the video about it, Masonite power supply. And it was actually for driving a neon tube. I say neon tube, it won't drive neon reliably. If his truck could fly, he could imitate seagulls, frost giant. If you dumped one of those trucks out, everybody would die when the poo hit them. The shit would literally hit the fan. So this was used for argon mercury tubes. And it would drive about a meter of the glass. I made my own version. Let me go and grab my own version. I've featured this one before. I should actually get a set of circuit boards made for it, but it's so hard to get neon. Definitely don't want crocodile clips just stuck in the end of something that is kind of reference the mains, but with super duper high voltage on top. How many bees died to make that PCB? What? Oh, the resin? Why? What? I don't know. This is a hard resin. It's strange that they've potted it in such a large quantity of clear resin. And notice they've also potted the capacitors, the electrolytics, which means that if they fail, where's the pressure going to go? And also the resistor here gets quite hot at the end. Lots of things about the designs that they did were just a bit sort of like, oh, looks like honey. All right, it could be. Hold on. No flavour. Some things are pot and wax. Yes, indeed. Well, look at the high voltage comms. Used to be waxed paper, didn't they? That they did them, and it was pretty good. I didn't get the VIP rubber glove treatment, Steve Perry. I actually went right through without being stopped this time, which is really odd for the Isle of Man. But on the way back, they were doing the whole customs and excise thing in force, making us take a convoluted route with lots of officers in their uniforms all staring at us like and trying to obviously get sort of people to be scared. Maybe they're trying to prevent drugs coming in. And I was looking at our uniforms and beards and going, it's okay. I didn't get stopped. It would look nice with colour change LEDs inside it. You'd have to add a bit of circuitry for the colour change LEDs, but it would. But the output is this is spicy. It's basically 240 in, well 220, 240, and the output drives a neon tube. But the video is made. You'll get the video probably round about the end of this video, this stream, because I'm ready just to fill in all the text if I don't get distracted and put it up. After I've checked it to see it's okay, maybe it's not going to be okay. This was poured in 2 layers. I can see that slight thing. Can you see the slight thing? I'm not really sure. The 2 slightly different coloured layers in there. And the way they made these, they tended to pour them into a vac form box. Baby Oric, it could well. I was bringing back Poundland Tat, not just Poundland. As a last minute thing, I was buying stuff and then ripping all the packaging up while sitting in a shopping centre and getting watched by a security guard because it looked so suspicious. Ripping all the packaging up and then stuffing the contents in as if I'd stolen it. And, I was trying to get rid of the packaging. Ugh. That's the sort of thing they just seem to do. But anyway, I don't think they found anything suspicious. How's the flight home, Harris? It was okay. It was a bit bumpy, but not too bad, which is good. Because the night before would have been pretty bad. Is Servalan really a Karen? No, Servalan is not a Karen. She's the complete opposite of a Karen. I mean, she's got certain Karen qualities, but Servalan is the evilest, most villainous baddie in sci-fi ever. She's ruthless. I find it hard to believe that drugs aren't moved in by drone these days, or indeed jet skis, like possibly happened. They can't prove that it was full of drugs, but you know what? Maybe it was. Electron box, but a drone, would that last between the UK and the Isle of Man? Not sure. But the Isle of Man has plenty of drugs on it, apparently. Not necessarily the good ones, the safe ones like marijuana, but others. I think they might actually be in the process of getting established to grow it on the Isle of Man, now that some rich businessman has got his finger in the pie, because the farmers, they weren't getting to. I'll put this stuff through. The cat is in the club. I think that's right, says Will the Cat. Greetings, Will the Cat. Smuggled in somewhere out of sight. They could, Rude Pirate, but I get the feeling they're reading people's expressions, so you'd have to play the poker face after pokering it up. No one ever got a stiffy for Servalan, except Avon, of course, Steve Perry. But no, she's not sexy, just villainous. A drone could reach Salaman from the mainland. It's doable, Grimshaw. The snag is, this drone come in would probably be spotted and they'd intercept it. Who knows? Oh yes, Leigh Braith. Make sure you check it's live, just in case you've joined the stream and it's started you right at the beginning here instead of along there where the action is. Paperface at Pokia Appian Cooper, that's it. Steve Race, I'm a huge sci-fi fan, but I've never been able to get into Blake 7. It was a very low budget, but actually good at the time. I watched it at the time, and it was fantastic, genuinely scary and fun. And you look at it now, and the costumes are just amazing, ridiculous. And the props, some of them are a bit crap, but on the whole, they're pretty good. And Aurak was stunning as a computer. Customs is far more exciting. New travel in the US, Electron Box makes mental note if I go to America to make sure that my phone is using a different account, so that if they kind of seize it and try to probe through my phone, they can't find my normal communications. The clock behind you is very handy to know if we were live. That's true, Scott. I need to perhaps introduce another clock somewhere else. Perhaps above the fireplace, I guess, maybe. I met Jacqueline Pierce who played Servalan. She admitted she had borderline personality disorder to me. Excellent. Well, that kind of fits Servalan. Was Blake Sim based on Magnificent 7 of 9? I'm not really sure. 7 of 9 is very good. Just sometimes you get a sci-fi character with just tons of character and it works really well. I'm going to plug in Stars, Mousy's little star, because it is not lit. Now, if I had a USB-C port, I could plug this into it. An eBay special. It's pink, both fleshy coloured, and it's got little USB-C pops out, and then you can charge things with it, except it appears to have the polarity wrong, and it didn't work in my little tester, which does appear to have polarity protection, which is just as well. That'll be interesting to explore. How could they have got the polarity and output wrong? I wonder how many have that problem, and people have plugged it into their phone, and it's blown it up. Greetings, Craig Matthews. Looks a bit rude. It's a bit lurid. It does look like a USB fornicator. I'll drop it on the computer, shall I? Using the wrong colour wires. Yes. Just about all at 9:05 when my laptop decided it was major update time. That is the curse of Microsoft, Alan Hurst. That's why sometimes you're better. Is that a USB-C connector? It is, Graham Shaw. Sometimes you're better just... Yeah, disabling updates and doing them when it suits you. Doing them, absolutely definitely do the updates, but not letting it just choose when it happens, because it does basically just bog your computer down. It's just like Microsoft. Ugh. Other interesting pinky coloured thing I found. I didn't have to get the pink one. I did get the pink one. Well, it's white, but it's got pink bits. This is a disposable vape, but it's got a recharge. It's got a USB port on the side. And it's nicotine free. But I thought it was nicotine. When I breathe a disposable vape and you breathe it in and put it straight out the nose, it burns the nose. I thought that was the nicotine. Why is that one burning the nose? It gives the same sensation. The flavouring is just like sickly. How much chemical flavouring they put in these things? I think that the flavouring is getting very, very dangerous in these because it's the one unknown chemical. There goes that rotten greenish comet. It makes me sick. I want to vomit, says Jeffrey Waldo. That thing makes me want to vomit. I think it is menthol, but it's not actually menthol they use. It's Coolada Rifleman. It's a synthetic menthol which gets rid of the minty taste but has the sting of the menthol, is what they seem to use. Mick Spanner, I too have quite a large vape battery harvest. I was in Glasgow. They were just everywhere. And every single one of them, only one was lowish voltage, but it was all right. The others all had typically about 3 to 3.5 volts in them. Frost Giant says, my RGB flashy star is shining tan mouse. Ah, I could stick. Is it going to stick with the magnet? I'm not sure. I've got a bigger magnet. Hold on. Let's see if I've got a big enough magnet. Which is the most powerful magnet I've got here? Let's just use lots of magnets. I could use, oh, I know what to use. I'll use a fuel line magnet for saving energy on all your fuels because it's got a great big magnet in it. The Chinese have always had issues with making good tasting vape juice. They don't seem to have any problem making super potent, chemically sugary flavors. That's perfect. But all the vapes come from China. Didn't NBC steal your best magnet? No, they just they stuck it to something else. I've got both my big magnets here. Here's one. And here, down here, is the other, which it was holding little bags here. Here's the other one. Holding yet another mouse badge. Lots of mouse badges. Uh-huh. Good evening, CDEC Mike. Jeffrey Wald has a flashing star on its way to me. And is it the badge or is it the biggie? Don't listen to anything IT tell you. I know I ran a help desk, says DC on. Aha. Tried that. Zero. Looking at requests, it's returned stuff of correct length but total garbage. I got lots of magnets. The one you have on, this one, it's quite a nice one indeed. What's the clock? Craig Matthews, where's the clock, do you mean? The clock is not in place. It's currently this chaotic panel, the supercomputer. I've made a computer on order, just a square one. We use one enough, Peter Grant. They're very good. The best vape juice in the world are British and American, says Rifleman. Sweeping statement. What age did you learn to drive? Curious. Around about the age of 21, I think it was, when I learned to drive. Well, when I passed the driving test. I passed it first time. I kind of didn't really want to drive, but, you know, when you're an electrician, you don't really have much choice. And when you do, then it's driving all the time. The clock did not meet an unfortunate end. I have a smaller version of the clock on standby. Just waiting to be installed somewhere, this little dinky version. Same message and all that going across it. Same type of controller, just a different controller. I just kind of need to find somewhere to put it that doesn't block drawers. Grandad taught me to drive age 14, I was age 2 at the time. It is time for a Turkish Delight. That sounds quite nice, Pete Webb. I do not have Turkish Delight, though. You need a 1-unit high clock, indeed. Something small that fits in here. But yeah, it's fine. That clock will go into position. Maybe I should get rid of the fireplace and put the clock there instead, although the fireplace has become a standardized thing. And look at it now, I could move the fireplace up and have the clock underneath it, so it looks like the flames are coming off the clock. I don't think it would fit. I think it's a bit too wide for the fireplace. The local authority IT, on the other hand, they don't have a clue. Graham Shaw, apparently the same applies to Glasgow because their webcam is always very shit in many ways and crashes quite a lot. And sits there crashed for months. But did you dye the beard again, the chipmunk? Not recently. It's still got the white coming in here. I'll need to add some dye. It's fine. I'll add some dye at some point. And then it'll go brownerer. The fireplace is confusing to some viewers indeed. Good. That's what we want, confusion. They were selling those off for £10 at the local shop. I almost bought another one, but I already have two. So that's just hoarding, isn't it? I do webcam systems. Send them my way, Electroshed. Just contact Glasgow Council, though, to be honest. The people that probably get the job are ones who give the biggest brown envelope. Horvath, you need a highly accurate clock, atomic controlled or some such. Then we could check latency for ourselves. I do have RF linked clocks. But, yeah. Steve Perry, I put a till down just in case the stuff does drip, and it does drip, so the floor doesn't get stained. I designed an atomic clock. I wrote the software for it. Driving a large, it was a custom display, come to think of it, with LEDs in the 7 segments. But in hindsight, I'd write the software differently. It used the slow signal, the carrier signal, monitoring the presence of the carrier signal, and it worked. As soon as I got it working, that was that project done. No Pugster Josh, not a neon pink beard. Funny sticker we had was lady's laptop is behaving erotically. Excellent. DCN, was it covered in porn? Oh, do you mean down the carpet down what? Down there? No. Let's not put ammonia on that. Nobody ever sees that anyway apart from me. And even then, I don't really see it that well, owing to the fact there's a beard and a tummy in the way. I think it's just amazing we can get BC all the way from the Isle of Man, latency or not. It is pretty incredible. Any clicking or popping today? Or does it just happen when there's lots of people watching? Might be the factor there. What is the latency? 1, 2 seconds. Audio is fine. This is good. Is it just down to the sheer number of viewers of it? I'm not really sure. Maybe it's a weekend thing because that's when the network is very busy with streams. I joined the club in 2 months, says a chipmunk. The 50s club. Excellent. Your camera's auto exposure keeps jumping, but that's normal. It is. Also not helped by the black clothing. Well, the dark clothing, the blue, it's blue. This black, this blue, this blue. Dark clothing is really what I meant to say. iPad, YouTube app is terrible at commenting, but it's all I've got on 4G. Mark Gray, the iPad was always a bit compromised. Craig Matthews, Flecking Hub just died completely and recovered. Needs a new one. Put it on my YOFO list. Excellent. Rupert, at what age do you become an adult? Are you 18? I'm not really sure what the official age. I mean, technically speaking, young June is now a plumber, so that happened to the age of 16. Does that mean he's an adult at the age of 16? I don't know what point you become an adult. I never became an adult. You need a click generator for tonight. I could just keep tapping the microphone. Legally, I think it's 18. Aha. Graham Shaw, audio is good tonight. I agree with Clive. There are a lot of live streams going on at the weekends these days. A lot. I could imagine that. Maybe the weekend isn't the time to do it. Who knows? I'm 50 and I'm still not an adult. Don't ever become an adult, Horvath. It bears huge responsibility. It's not worth it. I'm 58. Sounds quite old, really, when you're used to looking at old people from the past and going, oh, they're old, and now I'm old. And it's like, well, fuck, how did that happen? You still look as young June, Clive, yes, but not old June. They're actually starting to go a bit grey, which surprises me, because they're not that old. Then again, I've lost track of time. But anyway, it's just as you get older, your toys get more dangerous. It's true, like high voltage modules, potted modules. Dom Wright says I'm 59. Old man. That's reasonable enough. The UK drinking age alcohol is actually 5 years old. It is, Steve Perry. You're not allowed to give them it below 5, which is why you have like basically Benylin, Night Nurse, and all the sort of other whatever ones have alcohol in them. But technically speaking, a kid can drink alcohol at home, and that means young June drinking in the streams in the past wasn't actually illegal. On Saturday, the audio is clean in my equipment. Fiber to Rocco to TV. To Rocco to TV, yes. George Spillingham, 72. Yeah, that's good. Good going. I think going by the number of actors that live to a very long age, the secret to that is just not giving a fuck and not letting yourself be stressed out and getting tied up in work and just enjoy life. I think that's the secret. Omar Riverstone, just started my first batch of turbo yeast and cornmeal. Ordered some Kentucky bourbon flavouring. Have you found any whiskey flavour to be better than others? I've only really tried one, but it's the Still Spirits one. Having said that, I'm not that fussy, and it duped Ralph into thinking it was, albeit he said it was a young whiskey, but it was flavouring. But I'm not really surprised. The flavouring was excellent. I couldn't honestly have told the difference between that and supermarket whiskey, which makes me think that supermarket whiskey does contain quite a bit of flavouring. How else can they bang it out for like 12 to 14 pounds a bottle in bulk and in continuous supply? It's not some little distillery putting it in casks. Does YouTube give you an age demographic of subscribers? It does. It's very broad spectrum. It covers from very, very young to very, very old. It covers the full age line, and it's not. It's a fairly even line. It's very good. Oh, Rifle, happy 68th birthday. Oh, I didn't woofle. This woofle is for you, Rifle, man. Since Liz has completely forgotten that it's live stream night tonight and isn't here, I don't think. I haven't seen Liz. She's missed the first woofle. That's all right. It's Rifleman's birthday woofle. Activate electronic flame thing. Woofling. And ignite. And another one. And ignite. Nice. Yes, Pugster Josh, Young June was the kid in the Sausage Fest video. That doesn't sound quite right. It's the one where we electrocuted the sausages in the video. But yes, that is Young June. He has grown up. It must be about 10 years since I really met Big June and Kevin. Not really sure. I keep finding this on the bench, and it just reminds me of that sign script. Did you see the script I posted on Patreon? The link to someone's written a complex bit of software for creating neon shapes. Looks very good. Bentley's shite is told to me by a professor of pharmacology, Treasure Bloke says. Aha. Liz was late too last Saturday. You did an extra move for Liz 10 minutes after normal time. That's reasonable enough. Liz is suffering from CO. Is it carbon monoxide? Well, I hope not, Chipmunk. Commental Gavra, this is the first time in years that I feel young. Thanks all indeed. It's a huge spectrum ages. Did you get anything interesting in Glasgow? Relatively interesting things in Glasgow, some of which I showed in the other live streams from Glasgow, but nothing really radical, nothing that I would say that was particularly sensational. But I did get something was waiting for me when I got back. Let me go and grab it. It's terrible. it's not the pink light bulb. Now, is it just going to be pink plastic over white LEDs? It's kind of swamping out there. But it is a pink light bulb, or is it actually going to have pink LEDs for maximum efficiency, the magenta ones? Who knows? What's the circuitry going to be like? Steelworkers are positively exciting things, yes. Now, the bit of interest here, I'll put the battery in it. This thing. Did I miss why the scroll display is missing? It's just out of the way at the moment. It will return in a different position. I just felt the need to put the supercomputer back up since it is more recognized than the display. Oh, it beeped. Oh, it beeped. It's the Chromium Electroprobe. Ooh, chrome. Oh, dearie me. Oh, this is where it hurts me. Clive, I'm your youngest viewer. I'm 13. Yeah, that is quite young, right enough. What else Bob's next to me, says Rue Purry. Aha. What's happened, Scruff Dog? My ball python died today. Back soon, gotta handle this. Aw. Ball python. I thought that was like some sort of smutty reference, not really sure. But anyway, I didn't know Scruff Dog had reptiles. Interestingly, looks like a sonic screwdriver. It's got a digital readout. Boop. Boop. Oh, is it? And if you place it on your hand then, while holding this, oh. See the thumb twitching? It's passing electrical current and zapping to stimulate muscles. It actually feels like the thumb is pulsing, and that's at the lowest setting. And as you go higher, it just gets painful very quickly. But it's for finding acupuncture spots. No, ow! It's for finding fucking nerves. That's what it's for finding. Who even came up with that idea? What is it with the Chinese obsession with fucking electrical probes? Jesus Christ. Meridian massage pen, my ass. It's very nice. It's very chromium. It does look intergalactic. And guess what it's for? Probably, Craig Matthews, it probably is a fetish item for tingling nips and stuff and willies. It is a suspect device indeed. I'm going to take the battery out. I don't know what the passive current is. It's quite stylish though, isn't it? It looks very futuristic. And it only takes one AA. So it has a boost circuit. Well, it definitely has a boost circuit with output, but it also has a boost circuit to be able to drive the LEDs. No, I'm not going to poke it down my pants. Well, not in the middle of a stream. Besides, zapping them with electricity isn't my idea of fun down there. Miniature violet wand without the glass sphere, more or less, Jeffrey Waldo. Easy to wipe down, probably yes. I think moisture would get into it though, Pete Webb. It doesn't strike me as being super sealed. They don't call them violet ones these days. They call them Darsonval ones for some reason on eBay. And you can buy them quite cheaply. And the electrodes fit the old violet ray units. A Japanese electroacupuncture and it worked for my back pain. That's proud. That's interesting to know. Can you see a glow in the dark, Jeffrey Waldo? Not sure. Do not danger your own noodle. Absolutely. Use it in someone else's. Did you manage to get that little soldier iron? I just missed it, Pugster Josh. It's probably been released this coming Sunday. But it's the dumber, simpler circuitry. I've seen a picture of the circuit board. It's not very complex. I'll have to see if I can get one. Because the hack will probably happen in the handle of the solder iron. I reckon you could add a resistor in there to change it, if it needs it. Darsonval is a type of galvanometer that Chipmunk, well, on if you type it into eBay, Darsonval, or even AliExpress, Darsonval machine, you will get the little violet wand units. Eastham is huge in the S&M scene, DCL, and the scary bit, they're using some of the vintage machines before electrical standards, and they're using the metal rod in some of them, and they're holding onto the metal rod and going, oh wow, feel the tingles off my hands, not realising their body is referenced direct to mains voltage, and if they touch something that's grounded, they're in for a very bad surprise, as some have already had, including one who related to me how he was giving a presentation, and at the end he went to just do something with the chains that the guy was basically chained up, just as a sort of dramatic thing, and locked on, and one of the audience members saw that he'd locked on, came over and unplugged it. That's delightful. Wow, super sexy fetish. The vintage machines are most dangerous. They are, Jeffrey Waldo. They are just, I mean, they're nice for it, but there's no electrical separation. Even the Darsonval wand on eBay, you couldn't put a metal rod in it. It has to be the glass rods for the gas separation. Mr. Margee is at the doctor's for an old age checkup at the age of 61. Are they putting the colonic inspection device up your butt? They did that to me a while back. It was thrilling. They put the camera up, right, and then I was lying on my side, and there was a screen fronting, and it was like, basically, it was like a nature program called In Your Ass, and it was my ass. It was just, why? Why are you showing me this? I thought, I wanted to say, could I have a copy so I could put it on my YouTube channel? I thought maybe that's not a good idea. Ordered soldering pen Northridge 6, sell £40 around the 110 from them. They are marking it up, but you know what? That's how they make their money. Because keep in mind, these things are being sold at the raw cost. So they're buying it probably for the £40. And then they're marking it up to make their money. They're kind of doubling it. That's what they do. And people buy it from them because that's where they saw it and they know they're getting the correct thing. I don't even know if the Darsonval thing is purely the coil. I'm not sure why it's called that, the Darsonval machine. It's used in cosmetics, beauty treatments for Karens to make it feel like they're getting some facial treatment, and it's just basically a scam. I had to mail a small poop sample for prostate cancer test. Lovely, nuts and proud. Can they detect that from the poop? Mark Gray, I only got a digit up mine. That was unpleasant enough. Yes. Did they feel your prostrate gland? The best thing to do is to get a big dido and mash it flat. That's apparently the best thing. When you see this thing, like, I mean, people should relieve themselves on a regular basis. Male and female, they should pleasure themselves on a regular basis because it's a natural thing to do. It makes me wonder how many people in sour marriages don't do it at all. They're just basically just turned right off the idea of doing it and just don't. That's not great. Kuba Uber says, Monsieur Darsonval used galvanometers to directly measure biological electric potentials, so it all fits. Could well do, because everybody was using the coils at that era. I think it was a way to get round, because the other name for the violet ray, they sometimes call it Auden coil, to get round Tesla patents, I think. I'm not really sure. Had a heart ultrasound yesterday by a tasty 18-year-old. Boom, boom, boom. I see, Steve Perry. Was it racing? The camera you have to swallow is worse. They're getting quite small now. DCL, and it's not big. But Mike's Electric Stuff took one of those cameras to bits. Someone offered to send me one that had been through them. I was wanting to see inside it, but I'm not big in medical equipment, to be honest. Even this stuff's a bit weird. I've got another version of this that I've had for ages, and it's designed for your eyes. You run it round your eyes, pulsating them with electricity, and it just doesn't seem like a good idea to me. The US banned prisoners from doing it. I think one sued over it for endangering health. I think it would. I think you have to maintain health. Or maybe people just say that because they want an excuse for it. Darsonval was one of the first to stimulate muscles with electricity. Oh, right, okay, well, that's interesting. Not as proud I had an endoscope up my nose. I got my nose probed as well. It's pretty unpleasant, I have to say. I was having problems with my throat swelling. Do you know what it was? Starbucks coffee was causing my throat to swell up. And then I stopped drinking Starbucks coffee because it was very Moorish and it was very potent. It's just like your drinking water supply, you have to regularly flush the pipes, indeed. Or they could get an extension to the sentence or a fine if caught pleasuring themselves. That just seems like a way to make money. Dom Wright, I took my wife for an MRI today. If all goes well, she should have a new shoulder soon. Ah, that's good. It's quite good that they can change bits and pieces like that. Nicola, who you heard in the background of the New Year's Eve stream, but she didn't actually appear on camera. She was born with a dislocated hip, and they didn't twig it was dislocated initially. And once, because the baby's bone starts forming immediately, it never quite fitted. And when I first met her, she was always walking like the crutches because of the pain. And she had an operation that replaced that, and she's just been 100% mobile and pain-free since. It's great. Endoscope up the urethra is not a pleasant experience. No, Jeffrey Waldo. For some people, it might be. The nasal swab, Mr. Margie, when I first started doing those COVID tests, oh, actually, let's do a COVID test because I'm just back from Glasgow. Hold on. Because they're going to have to use them up at some point because, well, they're just, it's out of fashion now, isn't it? So she went through the whole childhood and puberty with bad hip. Yep. It was kind of bad. I should have a paper hanky ready for the sneeze. So just let's compare kits. This is where I find out I get COVID and have to go into self-isolation. That would be annoying. So we have the little box, the little cardboard box, which you close back up because it does have a little thing that you push. Let's see, so let's compare them. It's called Flowflex. And you've got the little vial of liquid. It's pre-sealed and it's got a little dropper on it and it's got the foil seal there. So let's rip that foil seal off. And place it into here. So it holds it upright. So you don't drop it and spill it. Then we get the swab, and I'm going to have to remember how to do this. Maybe I should have read the instructions. I have read the instructions many times and I never really remember it. I'm going to get a hanky before I do this because I'm going to end up sneezing, aren't I? What's the bet? I managed to ram it so far up the nose starts bleeding or something like that. So let me remind myself. Chipmunk comes back in 10 to 20 minutes, indeed. So just remind myself. Open the packaging. Got the tip. Don't touch it. Push the swab less than 2.5 centimetre from the edge of the nostril, so about an inch. Rotate it 5 times to get the inside of the nostril. Insert it into the nostril. So, right, okay, 5 times, 5 times. Right, okay. Right. The eyes are watering. Lovely. That's the right thing. Accepted my uni offers the other day. Is that an offer of to actually go to university? I know. I read the instructions. It's now I've got the little thing. So remove the swab. Right. Okay. Insert this and swirl for 30 seconds. I should have timed this. I am timing it now because there is a little display. It says that it's been live for 45 minutes. They could be in Chinglish. Inserting test tube up nostrils. Ah. Am I there yet? No, it's not there. Got another 10 seconds to go of swirling. And rotate the swab 5 times while squeezing inside the tube and remove it. Remove the swab while squeezing the tube. Okay. Okay, I have now done it. So now I squeeze it, rotate 1, 2, 3, 4, and then squeeze it out. Okay, lovely. Put that down there. And then put this in. It says also, ping it to mix it like this. Rightio. Where is the thingy? So I have to put 4 drops of solution. I should have known this off by memory. I did the test often enough, and well, in one instance it came back really like ridiculously positive. And then it resulted cancelled flight. 1, 2. These things are an absolute miracle of science, what goes on them. It's so clever. Righty-ho. So it's now soaking along. I shall leave it down here and we shall continue. I shall slurp coffee while not spilling it on the test strip. It's going along. Finger flick is the best way to mix things up in a tube, says Andrew Dignan. So it's going up. It's past the bit that says test, but let's give it time to do its thing. Let's, as always, keep the little silica gel packet because they're always quite useful, just in case. It's not showing positive. Let's wait till it gets up to the C because it is basically working its way up there. You can even see that. Not really. That's all right. I developed some of those kinds of tests from my research in my research lab at Los Alamos, says Jeffrey Waldo. It's very clever. When the bottom line is almost black. It was, Pugster Josh. The test one literally almost went black when I got COVID. I got it real bad. And it really knocked the stuffing out of me. It's one of those things that as you got better, you realised that you had been pretty bad. So into the little bio disposal thing it goes. I'll ziplock that back up again. Get rid of the instructions. The confirmation line is now going red. This is good. Keep flat, don't pick it up. It's okay. It's well soaked in at the moment. It's the reservoir has gone, but it is staying flat at the moment, and it's soaking along in the prescribed manner. That was such an annoying thing when I got COVID. I was thinking, I really wanted. The last thing I wanted was to be stuck away from home for Christmas. So it was unpleasant. Finally, obeying all the rules, which weren't really logical, because they said that it shows the slightest hint at all, even after when you're recovering, it said that the counter of when you're allowed to travel starts from then. So in order to obey their rules, I ended up coming back on Christmas Eve. Ah, Decian, we had a farm cat rescue. She had cat flu and sneezed everywhere. Ugh. Didn't know that happened. Most of my friends, I think everybody ended up getting COVID. They're still getting COVID, Jeffrey Waldo. I'll put these things through. The strip is going to the side here, and it's currently showing the C. You'll see it when it's complete. there's a very good chance I've been exposed to it, but because I've had it, it's kind of given immunity. Andrew Dignan, the COVID I got was the Christmas Eve flight was expensive. It wasn't too bad, actually. It really wasn't too bad. Um, but after that, it was expensive in the sense that I had to cancel it, and then my original flight, and you don't get a refund for that, so I had to book it raw. But since then, I've been using what they call FlyFlex, which for a small extra charge lets you change it. Did Ralph get it as well? If Ralphie got it, because you know he's a bit of a conspiracy denier, Ian Cooper, if Ralphie got it, he wouldn't tell me if he got it. Positive test means you can spread it. They didn't know until later how long you were infectious for. Aha. But it took a while to fade away. Everything tasted bitter when I had COVID. Even water tasted different, Pugster Josh. It was strange not having flavours. Just textures. Rupert had it months ago. Aha. It took a while to recover. Best hope Ralphie doesn't get it. Jeffrey Waldo, he's probably had it and never told anybody. That's how he is. He was being defiant. He likes to be a bit of a conspiracy theorist and Karen. So he's uncontrollable. Fran said she lost taste and smell. Me too. It was really distinct. I thought it'd come back, but over time, it came back initially to a good degree within a matter of days, but then over time it got better and better again till it returned to normal. The strip is currently showing test thing, but not the confirmation, but not the important bit, to the bit that went jet black for me. Long COVID sounds horrible, Simon Hopkins. It did knock it out of me. Do you know, I was struggling at that time. Maybe that's why my YouTube channel took a real dip, because the video quality may not have been good just because I was tired. Horvath has built one of those perpetual motion ornament coils and improved it. I put a 200 megafarad cap between transistor base and 0 volt rail. It made it do 2 pulses instead of 6, quieter and efficient. All right, okay. Test is negative for you, BC. It is indeed. I'm not sure the long johns would stop you catching long COVID, the frost giant, but the people saying they got long COVID, I think some of them were just basically hypochondriacs, but I definitely had long-lasting effects from it. What's the next video on? The next video that's to be released is the one about that resin block I showed at the beginning of the video, the high voltage neon power supply, still potted. It's got a story. I could tell you some of that story now. Gabkit, I was taking vitamin D and got COVID over Christmas, but I think the need dose is meant to be high. I think it is. I don't think it really stops you 100% getting it. The kitties are all doing fine, Jeffrey Wilder. Little Hutchie popped in today for some snacks and catnip. It is, I'm not pregnant, Jeffrey Waldo. It appears that there is no baby on the way. Right, I'm going to grab beer. 1 moment, please. Actually, and then it's a Jägermühlen. And do you know who the Jägermühlen's going to be to? It's going to be all the health workers who, from just normal daily stuff, suddenly get thrown at the deep end with a potentially fatal virus, and that most of them turned up for work and just did their job. to the health workers. I bet some just said, oh, screw this, and just decided not to be a health worker anymore. Greetings, Basti Electronic. Ah. Scruff Dog, your former danger note of a Viking funeral this weekend cleanseth fire. Ah. I will admit, I've never really understood the appeal of a snake as opposed to a furry critter. I'd rather perhaps have a rat than a snake. I think your snake would probably like to eat my rat, but that's a minor technicality. Ah. What do you think of the teacher strikes? Great for the kids, not so great for their parents, Pugster Josh. MGPS, that's proud, that's cool. A dog wakes up and runs to the kitchen as I open the treat tub. She can be snoring away and still hear it. Indeed. The health workers, shit wages, high expectations, long hours. It's just like, why is it the most useful people in society get treated the worst and vice versa? Ever consider getting a doggo? No, Craig Matthews. Not my style, to be honest. I don't even have a cat. I just borrow them because that way I can work away from home without worrying about pets. For those of you who remember the little snippets of video I put up from the Ember 2, Ed appeared in some of them, a co-worker called Ed. His biggest problem, he's a very good technician, but he has a couple of dogs and he doesn't like leaving them for long periods of time. That's not how the entertainment industry works. For Nordic, there is always a nurse shortage in the UK. Indeed. And they work them into the ground. They really treat them like shit. Very disappointing. Let's blow up the government. That said, have you seen the number of doctors and other medical staff who have set up their own YouTube channels and discussed and they're doing pretty well. They're doing okay. So the story about that little resin block, I shall grab the resin block. This was originally in a European-style plug-top power supply. It was inside the little plug top that you just plug into the wall like a wall wart. And from it, there was a coily mains flex. Keep in mind this operates at a couple of thousand volts, so not really the correct rating for the flex. And it led to an acrylic tube with a cold cathode neon tube in it, like basically argon mercury tube with phosphor and the two electrodes at the end. And it meant there was a very thin, basically like a thin fluorescent tube. Very colourful, pinks and cyans and colours like that. And a bit of foil wrapped around then just for visual effect to hide the electrodes at the end. And it resulted in this thin, bright stick. And I saw them in the shop window of Lewis's in Glasgow. And, oh, what's this? Dr. John Campbell. Have you seen how many views he gets, GavKit? I wondered at first if he was just part of the conspiracy policy, but I don't think he is. I think it's factual. Have you seen how many views he gets? Is he going to keep up with that ongoing viewership? That's brilliant. That is a way to make a living. He's doing a good job, though. Is it Scruff Dog's birthday? Oh, Rifleman says happy birthday. Happy birthday to Rifleman. I don't think it is Scruff Dog's birthday. No. Well, happy birthday anyway, Scruff Dog. Yeah, that would just be terrible. Your pet passing on your birthday would just be like, worst birthday ever. That would not be good. He's not a doctor, he's a nurse PhD, a quack. Is he a quack, Will the Cat? That's what I wondered. Because I just got the feeling he was cashing the pandemic. But MD can get a doctorate now. You buy them. I think a lot of the online doctors. I don't think Dr. John monetizes your channel. I should hope he does if it's that one because he gets a lot of views and that's definitely worth monetizing. Even just an advert that, like me, at the beginning and end video adverts, but nothing in the middle. Try again in May. That's a while away, Scruff Dog. But anyway, he's a vitamin D quack. Well, vitamin D and lots of things were promoted. To be honest, nobody knew at that time what was helping. They were all speculating on things. There was the whole ivermectin thing as well, which was just, do you know, it's interesting. I was researching that recently, ivermectin, and there was one person admitted with breathing problems, and they said, well, it's clear that like ivermectin, people have overdosed on it and it's given them health problems. So I looked it up, and the only case I could find of that, maybe there were more, but the only case I could find was someone who had been given like an injection of the full dose and then given the paste or tablets to take on a regular basis, like way overdosing. And it turned out that the reason that she was having difficulty breathing was because she had COVID. That's the actual reason she had difficulty breathing, but she was still overdosing on the ivermectin, which is a useful drug, but not for COVID. It's actually designed to kill infestations of parasites and worms in your intestines, things like that. It's horseworming stuff. MGPS is in the entertainment industry. Lee Goodyear is in the refrigeration industry. Industrial, commercial refrigeration. Alhurst, we use ivermectin in cage birds to treat scaly face. So Rifleman are getting mixed things here. Dr. John Campbell is an excellent source of excellent information. It did, you know, I was thinking initially, because I was maybe alert for quacks, that he might be a quack because there were so many of them. And the information he was coming out with was, this is the current research. But obviously, in hindsight, it's easy to look back and say that wasn't necessarily the best thing. But at the time, everybody was clutching at straws. It cures river blindness, not just curing river blindness, Jeffrey Waldo, but the company that makes it donates a huge quantity of the pills to third world countries where they have river blindness. Is it red river Nile disease or something? But it's to save eyesight, which is commendable, very commendable. And it's not like they really push it. They're not like, oh, look at us, we're heroes. It's just like they do it, which is good. I think the test is more or less complete. It's a very solid line for the confirmation, but nothing at all for the test, so that's fine. I've passed. It goes into its little biohazard bag. I'm in large commercial supermarkets, though I've done industrial in the past, Lee Goodyear. So is it the compressor packs you were working with? That's what I worked with, Hussman. Quite interesting. He cherry-picks research, especially about vitamin D, Will the Cat. He's got a channel. He's going with the popular stuff. But vitamin D, I stocked up on it when I got COVID. I put it in an order as a precaution just because, well, it was maybe going to help. Jeffrey Waldo, I too think it's an important drug. I have used it in the past, before COVID, because I always had problems with the skin of my feet, and I thought maybe it's something more. Maybe it's because, like, at times it was really flaring up and I was just getting desperate. I was trying everything. And one of the things I thought, the only way to rule it out is to get some ivermectin. And I did the terrible online thing. I got the horseworming paste and gave myself a dose based on the mammal size, which is one convenient portion for my weight. I'm apparently a small horse. No adverse effect. It didn't cure the problem. Where can I get a new Trident nuclear heat pack? Jeffrey Waldo, they don't exist. It was completely fake in that video. It's one of the few videos that's been completely fake, but it didn't stop people searching for it a lot. Muscovus fleas, the ivermec is used to worm many farmyard animals. Overdosed a goat by F-up. 40-pound goat got a dose for a 3,000-pound horse. How did you do that? The goat survived fine, was back to normal within 12 hours. I've seen other reports where it can cause drowsiness if they overdose. But it's not got worms now. That's quite. Did you squirt the whole tube in? The Nook heat pack is fake, the Chipmunk. It is, sorry. That would have been great. It would have been in the immersion right now, heating the water. Yeah, compressor packs, both conventional CO2. The CO2 is interestingly good air, because the pressures it operates at. Carbon dioxide was one of the first refrigerants, as was ammonia. But they struggled in the early days because the machining tolerances weren't good enough. I think carbon dioxide, am I right in saying that the carbon dioxide is used to refrigerate glycol to transfer the heat around the cases? Not sure. But kind of weird. Sell yours, Clive's a half-life second-hand one. What? George, I could do that. Sell fake nuclear ration heaters. Oh, the locking collar failed and shot a complete tube into the goat. Oh, right, okay. For those wondering what that is, the syringe has a little rotating collar that you put it to the correct dose and then lock it. And when you push the syringe, it only goes in that distance. But if that lock collar did fail and you were distracted, if you're trying to do a lot, the whole lot could go in. Yeah, that I can understand that. Ammonia fridges worked well. My parents grew up with ice made at an ammonia freezer plant. They still exist. I have to say, initially I found Kevin asked what a compressor pack was. Okay, in the early days of refrigeration, you'd get Copeland compressors, and each small group of cases in a supermarket would have its own car engine size compressor. And when you went into the plant room, there was basically, if you ever saw the supermarkets with all the slotted grills and all the noise coming from them, there'd be a rack of individual compressors, all just wired up individually and plumbed individually with their own little receiver tank, and they'd be maybe 2 or 3 high. They compressed those into what they called a rack, a refrigeration pack, which was basically a steel frame that could be made in the factory, and it had all the compressors, like 8 or so compressors built into it, and one big receiver tank and taught in a control panel. Then that's a compressor pack. Loud and scary, and kind of putting all your eggs in one basket with the gas. But ultimately they had a manifold with solenoid valves that fed loads and loads of different systems all around the store. Not necessarily even solenoid valves, shut-off valves, because liquid tend to be controlled locally by a mag valve in the case. Interesting, but just a bit scary. It's CO2 in the case in the shop floor, 35 to 40 bar liquid. Oh, really? So it's actually CO2, I suppose. I mean, it means the pipework has to be well rated, but having said that, cryogenic pipework, I suppose, really. And also carbon dioxide, it's kind of cheap as a refrigerant. It's not going to be as expensive as the other refrigerants. With the tubes of horseworm, you have to mix the whole tube as it can separate out. Can it, Steve Perry? I would have thought it would have been pretty sort of fixed in the gel. Don't know. Liquid CO2 in the shop floor. Yes. But the Freons are just expensive. We had a few incidents at Hussman with Freon pipes getting damaged and spraying out everywhere, and someone getting frostburn as a result of that. Does that mean you don't have to be F-gas registered to work in CO2? Possibly. I'm not really sure about that. But it's a fairly specialist equipment because of the pressures involved. What do the big metal chimneys do that go from the refrigerator to the roof? All I can really think is that might be the duct for the pipes and the cables. Not really sure. Is it a chimney all the way? I'll tell you what, I know what it is, Pugster Josh. Depending on the system, if it's the self-contained fridges, they might be ducting the heat out of the store if it's particularly in a hot environment. I'm not really sure. I mean, Electroshed disguise the pipes line sets. That's what it would be me too. But I suppose theoretically, if it's the self-contained refrigerations for this compressor in each unit, in a hot country, they duct them out. I suppose it varies because the heat has to go out somewhere. Don't know. Must have sleeves. We've never seen the Ivermectin separate, even had some sitting around for over 2 years. The thing is, how do you know it's not separated within the gel, though? I'm not really sure. It's pipe covers. It does sound like pipe covers, Lee Goodyear, to me. It's changed with Hussman. We'd run typically two cables to each case. Well, three cables if you consider the. It used to be an independent temperature sensing system. These days it's power and data. But in the past, when I first went into refrigeration with Hussman ages ago, you had the temperature and alarm cable coming out the case, which carried a couple of signals. It carried the one that told it that it was defrosting, and therefore the remote system monitoring the thermistor, because the thermistor was the other connection, it would know that, it would see the temperature rise. But it also had a three-phase cable, red, yellow, blue, black, which was used as black was the neutral, red was for the defrost heater, yellow was for the lighting, and blue was for the refrigeration control system. But it also had a multi-core for all the switches, because it was all electromechanical. It was kind of reliable. These days, it's power and data, and everything's done within the case by the computer. Commercial ammonia refrigeration systems, a control system. The fire department can vent ammonia to the sewer. Really? That's a bit scary. Part of me thought they'd vent it into the air, but that would not be great, would it really? Not great in the sewer. What happens if someone's working in the sewer? What voltage are the packs? 415, yeah, three-phase, Craig Matthews. Quite a high current. Some of the ones I put in were something like 300 amps a phase per pack. Pretty powerful. I blew a pack up once. Well, the control system, it was just loud. It's the biggest, loudest electrical bang I've ever had. And it was the defrost sequencer cam timer. It was just a different one from normal. Instead of the micro switches, it actually just had bare contacts. And I didn't know that and poked the screwdriver in to click the switch. And it initiated the control circuits were spread across the phases. So there was 415 volts between the contacts. And it just swept along and just tripped every single control circuit. What a bang. Amazing. Then silence. It was terrible. It was memorable. Ammonia is heavier than air, Lee Goodyear, so it would sit down on the streets, not that great. No, that would just gas the neighbourhood, wouldn't it? Oh, Star Delta says, never heard of that. We normally vent into IBC full of water. What happens to the turtles? Well, Domrite, you basically throw them into the ammonia because, the wee bastards had straws banned. The idea is to get it to dissolve and react with the water. Does it? I mean, I've got household ammonia here that's diluted in the water, but it does not reduce it. Scary being in a large computer room, the power goes out, is top end spoony. There's that horrible feeling, was it me? Would that have been audible from the shop floor? No, because the compressor packs are deafening, really loud. If anything, the silence would have been notable. Craig Matthews, louder than when you definitely didn't blow the super expensive control system of polarity mix-up. That was silent. It just silently failed when I did a super expensive control system with the polarity mix-up. It just died. Oops. I have ammonia right here at the computer. A little bottle of smelling salts. Let me sniff my ammonia. Household ammonia is not liquid ammonia. Oh, right, okay. That is strong. Apparently, I have 1.1 second latency. Pretty speedy. It is, Rue Perry. It's incredibly fast. This was defective from factory boss Craig Matthews. I just put it in the bag, didn't put the tag on with my name in it. Just marked as faulty. Oops. I think that probably took out quite a few chips. That one may not have recovered. You know that you fucked up the lights? The 40 kV station dip, allegedly, Jerry BVR. Oh, I've dipped lights. I've definitely dipped lights. I've dipped them in a neighbourhood as well. Household ammonia is a solution of ammonia and water. The actual liquid gas is nasty. What was it? PRG light controller. Craig Matthews, no, it wasn't a PRG light. Anyway, let's not talk about that. Although I'm not working with PRG at the moment. It appears to be it's going to be probably Neg Earth again, but I'm not really sure. That's assuming I'm back for next year. You never know until even though they said, yes, you're with us this time again, I never like to say, yes, I'm definitely there until I'm on site and working. That's the peril of being self-employed, freelance. We have to inform the local fire department in the UK if the fridge plant is more than 5 kilogram charge so they can be trained. Bubble ammonia through water becomes dissolved in it. Ah. Yes. So, hold on. I want to see. Hold on. People are confessing to things here. Do you know that John Logie Baird apparently conducted an electrical experiment? He worked. Is this real? Is it folklore? But he worked at an electrical generation distribution plant as an engineer and tried an experiment to see if he could turn a carbon rod into diamonds by basically putting all the power through the carbon rod with a loud bang and took the power out in the neighbourhood. That's what you call a good experiment. Grameshaw, who is big, burly, and smart enough to keep those lights going? Just you. Plenty of people are capable of keeping them going. Last year, virtually nothing broke down. It was almost boring in the sense that and we weren't even, if something broke down, we had a couple of lights go, we weren't allowed to even open them because the lights were new, under warranty, and the cases were sealed because they have to be pressurized. So we'll see how that goes. Once they're out their honeymoon period, then we can open them and take a look inside. Apparently he's never heard of a fuse. Yeah, he did. He heard the fuse, yes. Jason Green. Oh, not so proud. The dog has just discovered the treat by a nose. It took a while to wake up. But anyway, the subject that I was talking about earlier. This little unit, this little resin block that I've been fingering. It was in one of those, it was powering the light stick, the cold cathode tube, probably about 5 foot long. And I saw them in the window, I thought, oh, they look great. And I went in and just asked about them because I said, I want to know where they got them from. And I want to know what technology they used. And I asked a sales assistant who then pointed, that guy does this sort of window dressing. And I went over and asked him, and he said, oh, come on, I'll show you. And he took me up to their workshop and he said, we've actually got one of these. We don't know where they came from. It's a German sort of supply company that did sort of window displays. And he said, you can have this one because the flex had been cut and they tried joining one to another tube. And then the guy didn't realise these held a bit of a charge and got a zap off it after it had been unplugged and then decided he didn't want to play anymore. So they gave me the 2 bits. It turns out that the problem was really easy. This puts out DC and it polarises the tube. And if you swap the polarity, the mercury will migrate to the other end. Or you can put it up the way so that the mercury drops down to the end that's the charge is taking it. But why the light's pressurised, Simon Allen? A vacuum is pulled in the light, if that's what you mean. Graham Shaw, Abbott Clive, you have the respect to the rest of the Lighting team. That's the most important requirement. Do you know, we get on so well together that it's actually a pleasure going to work, and we actually usually turn up early for work, after work we go for a drink together. That's proper working environment. That's very good. Star Delta, for information, if anyone's stuck for calibration ammonia, I keep 5010K in my van, usually 3-week lead time. Ugh. Do you know what? I didn't know at the time. I'd be driving a Hussman van around with cans of fucking Freon gas that could asphyxiate you and cans of acetylene gas and oxygen that could blow your van into smithereens. I didn't know these things at the time. Oh well. Just happy to be driving the Hussman van with the Hussman shirt on, to be honest, because, you know, I'm quite shallow that way. I quite like to wear a work uniform with a logo on it. The light fitteds pressurised to keep water out. They are, Lee Goodair. And the normal procedure is to actually pump them up with air and put a gauge on to look for leaks. It works. Our old 40-watt fluorescent tube is getting slow to start. New start, red ideas, not going LED. Nuts proud. Is it blinking but taking a while to light? Or is it just basically taking a while and then going ting and lighting? Could be the starter. You can still get the 40-watt fluorescent tubes. I don't see them going completely obsolete too quickly. Fridge men are nails. Lee Goodair. What? I will say that the unexpected thing with working with Hussman was the hours was just that the reason I stopped working with Nend is because of falling asleep at the wheel. The hours doing supermarket changeovers were ludicrous. Like 2 days without sleep and things like that. Not great. Not blinking, we get a genuine Phillips tube. Aha. If it's just taking a while before it goes tink and opens, that is you change the starter. When acetylene was used with car lights, they learned that the hard way. Indeed, Will the Cat. Nuts proud, try and earth strip along the tube. The chipmunk, if it's not... One of the things, the fluorescent tube should be mounted next to a grounded metal plate. That's part of the striking. It causes the capacitive coupling, helps the charge go along the tube. Which is why if it's not got that plate, if you touch the tube or run your hand along it, it can sometimes light. You literally pull the charge along the tube until it actually lights. In the 60s, I worked for Industrial and Vertico, and the water fuses blew their top with a loud bang during testing. Ah, George Spring. Water fuses? Star Delta got caught up with a lot of your videos at the start of the week. Watch them while building control panels. 56 hours in 3 days. Ugh. I quite like building control panels. That's another thing that happened with Hussman. I ended up, because I was freelance, not just working out in site and installing and stuff, but I ended up in the factory as well, building control panels. Here's a drawing, here's the panel, build the control panel. It was pretty good, I have to say. Like a second apprenticeship. It could be the tube is in the last legs if it's taking so long to strike, yeah. Alan was using styptic pencils to heal cuts when shaving. It was indeed Bobby Yorks. Hope choke not dead. Nuts proud. If the choke was dead, it usually tends to, the way they die, either a broken connection, the tube won't light at all. Oh, it just blinked out. Or it goes dead short and then the tube fails very quickly, which isn't a great thing. If you get a shorted turn, it basically defeats its function to a degree as a choke. The way to test that is to put a lamp in sears the choke and see if the lamp lights dimmer than it would without it. It is glitching. Frost Giant, the Woofled spider is no longer there. It's hung there for a while. Oh, Woofle. It's Woofle time. But the screen did just blink. I'm not sure why. Not to worry. Keeping in mind that this is streaming all over the world, it's pretty impressive. So I'm not going to complain about little blinks and glitches. Woofle. Let's give it something to compress. Woofle. Woofle. Thanks, Clive. I've got a real 60-watt incandescent bulb. To be honest, before you start doing too much troubleshooting, unless it's just killed the tube completely very quickly and it's a young tube, just change the tube. That's the first thing you should consider. The other advantage of changing the tube is the phosphors do degrade in them, so you're going to end up with a much brighter tube. If it's an old tube, it's going to put out a lot more light. So that's good. Change the tube first. Stream seems brighter than usual. New lights? No, it's not got new lights. Maybe it's because I'm wearing darker clothing, so the exposure's compensated too much. Tube is 2012 vintage, Nuts and Proud. It's time for a new tube, but keep in mind that an LED one wouldn't have lasted this long. That it will be a lot brighter if you put a new tube in. Treat yourself to a new one. Get out to do Carrefour or what's the one in Val d'Europe? What's the can't remember the name of that supermarket. Carrefour is the one that comes to mind. Going to be fun and stepladder. Just take cautions. Nuts and Proud. Fluorescent tubes do not like the cold. The mercury tends to condense in them if it's very cold. Need more flannel. It maybe does need more flannel. What's in underneath? More blue. That's Mr. Blue today. Clive, a brand new Philips tube in the garage. You're sorted then, Nuts and Proud. That's fine. Carbonate your beer. No, Steve Perry, you know what happened the last time I carbonated the beer? The carbonation came straight back out again. It took a long time to get rid of the foam. Nuts Proud, it's 9 degrees Celsius in the room with the 40-watt tube. That will be a factor then, because it is cold and it causes it means that you're relying on the argon on its own without the mercury vapor being in it, because it's condensed out a bit. And it's going to have a higher resistance. It's going to struggle to start. What's your indoor temperature, by the way? Kuba Ober. One moment, I'll check. It is currently a sweltering 10.5 degrees Celsius, which is actually pretty good. How much will 0 degrees Celsius affect the mercury? Jace Green, in some countries, outdoor neon signs that have the mercury vapor tubes, the argon mercury tubes and phosphor, add a little neon, because the neon is used to kind of heat them. The same way that, you know, your old low-pressure sodium streetlights have the neon to help them go. Kuba Ober, don't go 10.5 degrees centigrade wall. Is that wall? It's so high. It's not that bad. I'm used to cold. I like it. Cold is good. You need a digital. Well, Nisai, I have got a board that might possibly accommodate a sensor, but I'm not really sure yet. I've not tried it. And alternate between time and temperature, but then people will just say, I am the chill guy, Kuba Ober. I've just always worked outdoors. It's fine. In Canada, there were special low temp tubes, the Chipmunk says. That would have been tubes that were just basically have a hotter gas that might have been neon, and I'm not really sure, just to get the mercury in flow. But anyway, it's worth changing the tube anyway, because if it's 10 years old, then the phosphor will have degraded. It's going to be a lot brighter looking with a new tube. They did glow reddish, hence neon. Absolutely, the Chipmunk. new tube for the win, indeed, Graham Shaw. Useful to change the tube routinely. Sometimes in offices they just routinely change all the tubes. It's cheaper than getting someone in to replace one every time it fails. And also, it increases the light output. They do the same in supermarkets. Is YouTube 40 watt? It could be 40 watt, if depending what you're viewing it on. I got tubes for €5. That's all right, Nuts Proud. That's keep in mind it's going to last another 10 years. You're not going to get an LED tube for €5 that lasts that long. And also, that you have to weigh in the factor. How much light does the LED tube put out? They're much better now. They're kind of directional, but they're much better than they used to be. Because it used to be that they weren't that competitive with fluorescent initially. They're better now than Horvath saying tubes are inefficient. The fluorescent tubes and electronic ballast are actually pretty good. It depends, you have to trade life expectancy with output. But this little block, I've already reverse engineered it ages, like decades ago, because I got it home and I had to take it to bits, obviously. I mean, Jesus, that was going to happen. And worked out the circuitry. I think it's this exact one. I think it only had one, so this must be it. And it's just basically worked it out without depotting it. And drew it all out, and I was amazed that it was just capacitive dropper. Not capacitive dropper, a capacitive multiplier. A Walton Cockcroft type multiplier dual. And then I started making my own. They were great. Cooper, I do not like that temp. Too hot at night is bad. Yeah, well, cool at night is good. Warm in bed, cool outside. I do wonder what will replace LED lighting, Electron Box. We don't know that yet. We just don't know what's going to replace it. I've pondered that myself because it's not been invented yet. Or if it has, they've not advertised it. They've not said. It's going to be an evolved fluorescent light. Not cheese, though. What? Ian Cooper, I'm not sure what that means. Got to be candles. Candles are good. I've got a candle burning through there if it's still burning. I'll go and get the candle. Hold on. Rusty old fitting. There's the candle in there. It's an 8-hour candle which runs my glitter lamp at a solid rate for 8 hours, theoretically. It's quite nice. Works very well. Also runs a glitter lamp. Not a glitter lamp, a lava lamp. Horvath, I built my Cochran multiplier and zapped myself with accidentally 3 kV. Was it powered up and you zapped yourself with it? Or did you just, was it holding a charge? Because getting zaps off Walton Cockcroft multipliers is a thing. It happens. Ooh. Very glittery. Very pretty. Candle powered glitter lamp. If you wanted to make a candle powered glitter lamp, that was a standard glitter lamp. I made a project about that on my website, bigclive.com. How to make it. A standard glitter or lava lamp usually takes 30 to 40 watt lamp. A standard tea light puts out about 35 watts of power. It's well matched. It was holding a charge, it was off. Everybody gets stung, Horvath. You'd have to put a discharge list across every capacitor. It's not really practical because, particularly with a voltage multiplier, it tends to be quite low current. Oh my god, I'm still live. What? Frost Giant, what? Anyway, Liz is here. Let's have a woofle for Liz because Liz missed all the woofles. Stand by for a Liz woofle. Number 1, Fireball. It's not going out. And second woofle. Make it a big one. Woofle. Oh, that was quite a good one. Ah. Ah. Oh, Nuts Proud, I was annoyed. We bought 2, so let's see how long it lasts. I wrote install date in the vase. Ah, it's always good to write a install date on lamps and stuff like that. One day Clavis Singed Beard, one day Electron Box. It's been done in the past. Makes a terrible smell. Oh, Dave Reader, I've swapped my desk lamp to one of those slightly greenish Philips Eco Eye Friendly, not a Dubai lamp things. How are you getting used to it? Alizarin waffles. What? Frost Giant? Strange things. Do you know what my beard smells like when it goes in fire? High voltage beard ignition. It always went in fire. Yeah, it smells terrible. Oh, it smells awful. It always does. Oh, it smells like a moth went into an insect killer. Ah. Burning protein, it is an awful smell, Rifleman. Not like burgers. Borax treated beard. I'm not sure that would work, Carlos Capriotti. I could try it, but I don't think it would work. I think it would stop the flames spreading further, but I'm not really sure. If I'd thought we could have done that experiment by spraying it with borax at the end, or boric acid and water, let it dry, and then maybe try light it later on the stream. Maybe that's it for the future. The green lamp is good now. I've adjusted to it. Just as bright as the old Osram, but half the power used. Absolutely. Oh, Sean the Spark, burning hair stinks. I spent Monday working in a question centre. They were shoeing horses all day. It's all I could smell. Oh, the burning. See, it's the burning hoofs would also be that smell. Anything organic, nails and stuff like that, everything. I used to like arc onto like skin and the nails just for fun, just basically draw sparks onto them until it would end up burning. The smoke would come off and it smelled awful. It smells bad out of 10. Keep doing it. I do, Mark Gray. I never learn. I am foolish. BC, your name should be Singe. I should call you. Send your turban. Well, you don't simply send someone a turban. Do you know that you can get just pre-made turbans that just sit on like a beanie? But in reality, a proper turban is wound every single day. You get up and you basically wind that fabric round your head in a particular style to create your turban. Look on YouTube, wind your turban and you'll see it. Nuts Proud says, we still have a lot of fluorescent ceiling lights. I do already have a turban on my head. It's a woolly turban. Nuts Proud, I know a guy in Dubai. I might get him to send me some real lamps. Or you could get one of those two-way splitters and use 2 lower power lamps hacked. In fact, many of them would probably work in the series, some types. There are different lengths of turbine. There are evolution. It's quite a complex thing. And there's status turbines. 10 minutes of wasted life. It is. Yeah. I'm not sure why they make them do that. I'm pretty sure that many will just cheat, and particularly workers with their traditional black turbans, and they'll get up in the morning and just sit their turban on and go out. I'm still running a 270 watt fluoro in the garage. Oftentimes change it out to LED, but hesitate because of the fluoro fails. I just stick another tube in. If LED fails, I'm in the dark. Absolutely. One does not simply send someone a turbine. That is it. Yes. Sports turbine is very short. All right, okay. Evolution. I noticed they also have like basically this a skull cap pseudo turbines. They've just the younger generation are just biased towards minimalist. Also, they've got beanies with religious symbols on them. I noticed as well. Ceremonial turbine is bloody enormous. They're ridiculous. Evolution. They got like blingy bits all over them. Do you know Mouse could make badges just for turbans? You could stick this in a turban. Ganesh would approve. The best thing about turbans is the amazing beards underneath them. Yeah, now you say that, Will the Cat. Sikh can't cut their hair ever. They must cut their hair at some point, otherwise it would get problematic. It just seems, why would you stop someone cutting their hair off? That just seems weird. I know this is how religion controls people. It just seems a very strange thing. Turban fire, yikes. Well, I bet there's some that are quite oily, Peter Stevenson. Well, there's only one way to find out, and that's to light a turban. Evolution. I was looking at becoming a Sikh so I didn't have to wear a hard hat at work for religious purposes. Yeah, but then you'd have to wear the turban, wouldn't you? Because there was an electrician came onto a site a while back that he did wear his turban and no hard hat. But the thing is, what if they... Have you ever seen those fiberglass ice creams that are used to advertise? It's the big fiberglass or plastic cone with the big whippy, Mr. Whippy thing. They just need to make a turban hard hat out of that and just sit it on. Some of the hats that Orthodox Jew men wear are big. I want one until I found out how much they cost. They're ridiculous. They're huge, DCL. And I've seen them on Lewis Rossman's videos. Just fake it. Is a beard still attractive if it's a food net? It's a bit less desirable as 007 UK when you have to put a snood over it, a beard snood. But that's all right. At least you've still got your beard. Sikh always carries a weapon. It's part of their doctrine. Rifleman, technically speaking, the Scots will always have a ski and do tucked down at the into their socks. A little ceremonial knife. I remember Only Fools and Horses the Turbinator. What? I'm not sure that is. Oh. My coworker used to put his hard hat on top of his turban. Then again, some hard hats get put on top of beanies when it's cold because the air does flow up. Hard hats are either too hot or too cold. Dave I worked somewhere with wire mesh floors and 3 floors. It was when someone dropped a screwdriver that a colleague changed his mind about the must wear a hard hat rule. Indeed. I dropped a screwdriver out a grid and it's stuck in their brand new floor vertically. Bit embarrassing. Ran down to remove the evidence and there's this woman going there going, oh, look what happened. It was like, ha ha, lol, remove the evidence. No, fuck off. I'm just thinking, I'm trying to, is the hard hat just balanced on top of the turban? I'm not really sure. Snoods are okay. I hate wearing the hair balaclava style. Sounds weird, but I think I can't breathe right in them. Ah. Hmm. Do you see how much they cost? I'm just looking to see what costs that much. Oh yeah, that is quite expensive. £2,000 a hat. It's ridiculous. Shremo hats are 8,000 US dollars on average. That's a status symbol then, isn't it? Same as Orthodox Jews got to shave bald spot. Really? This just sounds like someone with male pattern baldness trying to make everybody look the same out of malice. It's the lion trying to get everybody to cut their tails off. And maybe the reason that Sikhs have to grow beards is because maybe their leaders are a bit gay for beards. You just never know. Scruff Dog, well then, most of my hard hats were free. To be honest, Scruff Dog, you see this blemish on my skin here was caused by being forced to wear a hard hat in really ridiculously high temperatures, and the skin just flared up with that horrible sweatband they have. And now I know, I mean, I didn't predict it was going to happen in advance. Now I know what can happen. It's a case of buy your own hard hat and get a good one. Boy George doesn't pay 2,000 a hat. I think you'd have to pay 2,000 at least for one of Boy George's hats. Frost Giant. Because it may be a very ordinary hat, but then it becomes famous once he's worn it. Oh, I found Evolution. Evolution, hold on. It sneaked away. I found it. It's been missing for a while, but it's back again. The Maker Knife. No, you get Boys George's helmet free. No, I don't think he gives out willy nilly, actually. He is a celebrity. I often have heard chats, yes. Do you know, one of my friends on Facebook who's uh, he's a fighter in America, ex-fighter, I'd say, but had a fairly successful career. He's also a steel worker, and he puts up ridiculous pictures that you should really put up, and he totally sharted big time. Like, he posted a picture with it all down his legs and in his jeans, and a lot of his followers unsubscribed. It's just like, even I was looking at thinking, why did you post that? I mean, it's funny, but it's not the sort of thing you post on Facebook. But anyway, I'll try not to circumcise my finger with that knife. Did you carry that in Glasgow? No, I didn't. They're so expensive because a real one is made of genuine sable fur. Professional sharter or fighter? Well, there was that guy, the brown bomber, Peter Stevens, who did shart during a fight and got very messy. Bit of a career ender for him, I'm afraid. These things happen. That recent poll I did, whether you'd sharted at work or not, some of the comments were hilarious. Andrew, what else watched the bear action in the latest episode of The Last of Us? Emmett H. I don't watch stuff like that, so I'm not really sure. Yeah, Will the cat. I probably was the only one not carrying a knife in Glasgow. Beer. So this stream will go on for another 20 minutes. It's going on until 1:15. It may still end in a whiffle. Never shart in public, that's for sure, Peter Stevens. Good. Just terrible thing. Yes. Nuts proud. I had to stop a bus once of a wee behind a tree, indeed. I sharted at work once. I was ill. And it just seems to be a common factor was if you're an office worker, you can often call in sick and say I can't come in today. It doesn't apply if you're a construction worker. There are so many people dependent on you being there that you don't really have any choice, and you'll end up going in ill. And it was terrible. It wasn't even poo that came out, it was yellow liquid. I was really ill. Really, really ill. I don't know what was up with me at the time. Oh, it was horrible. That's when I had to go into the only lockfast place, which was the Queen's Royal Box, the Edinburgh Tattoo, to get the pants off. It was just like, oh, God. No. Sorry, Your Majesty. Yeah. Was that in the box? Yes. I had to go into the box. I was out in the gantry at the time. Wearing shorts, big baggy crew shorts. It looked like one of those like two nozzle coffee makers. It was just like filling two espresso cups. It was like, oh, no. Well, don't remind me about it. I managed to hide it. I had a pair of overalls. Pants came off, overalls went on. Nobody saw. That's a miracle. Probably someone said, "Oh, what's that in the gantry?" It's like, don't know. Imagine dropping a log over the side. That would have been better, Nuts and Proud. I mean, it wouldn't have been a good thing for photography, but it would have gone down a considerable height and onto grass. It would have been fine. It wasn't really planned. Oh. The chipmunk, I had food poisoning. Colleague made me come in because he needed my brain. Coughed, shit myself, vomited at the same time over a cream carpet. Excellent. That's what they get for having a cream carpet. I hope it was Shag Pal. Grimshaw, I shorted once too in bed. Thanks. Dentist that gave me anti-inflammatory pills only took two of the tiny bloody things. Are we getting back to seagull impressions? We could get back to seagull impressions. It does make me think it was funny when Vince, the crew chief, said, "Well, I'm going to go to the toilet because if I don't, I'm going to blart." And we were like, "What? Do you mean shart?" And he said, "No, blart, it's blart when you like fart out poo." And no, and we looked it up, and it's apparently a blart is when you fart out blood. And he said, "No, definitely not. Not that." Ah, yeah. Don't wear white pants, indeed. Jeffrey Waldo, camouflage is probably the better choice if you could actually predict when it was going to happen. Ah, but there we go. So I've got anything else interesting technical? Technical things. I will take this apart in a video, I think, although I'm going to have to be very cryptic about what I say about it. Joe, one of the most ridiculous things about this disposable vape, watch it, I'll turn the light off, right, and puff. Look at the LEDs in it. It's got a huge number of LEDs. The light is coming back, watch yourself. That is so sickly. It's unbelievable. Khaki work trouser confidence statement, indeed. That's the colour of the pants I had on at the time. Very awkward. Dark would have been fine. Miss I need to sleep. I'll turn in and listen to a horror babble story on YouTube while falling asleep. Aha. Good night. Oh my god, everyone will know. What? Us truck drivers don't need vans. We'll need carrier bags and some newspaper to line them. Oh, it's all gone very poopy, actually. They probably make portable poopers for vans. I bet they're on eBay. Poop while you drive. Try not to crash while you're in the middle of a poop while you're driving. 15 minutes to go, just so you know. The blinding LEDs. Oh yes, the blinding LEDs. It's full of LEDs. I'm trying to remember how many are in it. It looked like 7 or 8 LEDs. Ridiculous. The amount of flavouring in that is just nauseating. It can't be good for you. That's the bit that's going to cause the health problems in these things. Pugs, Josh, don't use a hydraulic toilet. You may get shredded. That is still. It'll be interesting to know the outcome of the case of what happened there. Horrible. That toilet, that guy getting crushed under the retracting hydraulic toilet that goes into the pavement. I just know there was going to be very little space in there, and he probably didn't get much warning, couldn't get out in time, and got crushed to death. Maybe it didn't happen immediately, he was asphyxiated. Horrible, horrible thing. Can we do a poll to see how many watch the stream to sleep? A lot of people, as I'm 007 UK, watch my videos to help them sleep. I don't blame them. J Screen, the hydraulic toilet. It's basically, it's a urinal that, it was in London's, this accident happened. It was in London's theatre district. And the idea is that at night time, when there are lots of drunks about, this urinal rises out of the pavement and sort of telescopes up, and then people can go into it 3 at a time in different sides, and they can have a piss, and it drains away through the drainage system, and then when it's not needed anymore, it retracts back down into the ground. And someone got crushed to death under one while they were working on it. What an undignified way to go, Pugster Josh. I want to know the HSE investigation if they publish it, but I know they're going to say death by misadventure. Oh, he probably didn't follow some routine. It's one of these things, let's brush it under the carpet. He did on a one-day course. Did he sign the disclaimer? Then it's his fault. That's what they'll be. It always is. If someone dies, it's them who get the blame. That's what the HSE does. That was a rant. That was your rant. Was that the only rant tonight? Cruise ship lift, that is all DCL. The guy, the maintenance guy, the blood was dripping out the doors. That was horrible. But some of the modern machine roomless lifts, they don't leave much space for people to work in either. Pretty dangerous. Indeed. But I want to see the actual report too, Chipmunk, to see if, there was just any proper provision for preventing it from coming down. What happened? Did a hydraulic line come off while he was working on it? And before he could get out, it actually sunk down. Did he realise it was coming down? And the first thing he knew about it was when it actually landed on him. Who knows? But yes. The worst thing is, I've worked on the pop-up electrical pillars, and it always floods. They've got very little space underneath, and it's always just flooded. There should surely be a safety interlock in that, David Reader. Don't know. You'd think there'd be some sort of pinning system to stop it coming down. Maybe he just needed to get into. Oh goodness, we don't know. We don't know what he did. Yeah. Pretty bad though. Don't know. There's just not a lot of space, and it's always flooded. And the urine that misses the thing will go down there. It would just be a stinking piss hole, and it was completely unnecessary because next to it were the standard blow molded plastic ones that they come and pump out every so often, and they didn't need to have a fancy, expensive designer retracting one to please the Karens and say, oh, thank goodness our pavements are completely clear of such things. Or better still, this might be radical. This could be radical. I mean, Glasgow could learn from this. They could do what Ramsey at the Isle of Man in general has, and have public toilets. They don't even need an attendant. It's just basically you go through the door and you use a toilet. I know it's valuable space. They could have sold the space and the land and all that, but and it probably does need it maintained by someone on minimum wage. But no, let's get these designer pieces of shit. That was the rant continuing. Oh, the Saniflow. No. That's pretty bad. Saniflow, the poop choppers, and the sanitary disposal units. Oh, no, no, no. Blocked up to the hilt because the thing had jammed. Oh, no. Wasn't worth someone's life. Not at all, Will the Cat. They just don't really design it for the people that fix them, do they? Oh, do you know what else happened in the UK a while back? According to a report by Guardian, a Met spokesman said the man was thought to have sustained crush injuries while working a telescopic urinal. Indeed. Do you know what else happened in the UK? And you can find a photo of it somewhere. It was one of those sliding door, permanently up, not retractable ones, the sliding door coin operated urinals that you go in, or toilets that you go in, and after a certain time the door will open again if you forget or you take too long to poo. I could never use one. I tried one in Holland. I couldn't use the thing because I couldn't shit while I was in it for fear of the door opening. But what happened with one in the UK is a high voltage cable underneath it developed a fault and exploded through the toilet and blew the lid off. But nobody was in it at the time because otherwise they would have high voltage burns. Exciting. But we'll see what happens. It'll be interesting. The London loos are all closed because closing them is cheaper than providing access to those disabilities. That is a problem, Chris. They always used to be downstairs. And there is that thing that if you can't provide access to a wheelchair, then nobody's allowed it. That happens. Mr. Yeager. I did, Mr. Yeager. Scruff dog. I did. I think I may have had a toast before. Is it a toast? To the poor guy that got crushed and killed under the urinal and his family, what a horrible way for a family member to go. To that individual, the maintenance guy. There is another one left. There's one last Jaeger Minion left. It's for Scruff Dog for his sad event today, his pet event. I still don't understand why people want snakes. They're very unpleasant things, but that's okay. No, it's okay. Big, dangerous death noodles, as they say. George Spilling, Iran/save local authority shithouse in Islington. Reasonable enough. Now, one of the guys that used to be on this, used to join us in the streams, but unfortunately passed away. What was it? What was this? It was Jerry. What was it? Jerry Barbell or something? Can't remember. But because he was right into his like bodybuilding stuff like that. He worked doing lighting maintenance and signage stuff like that. But one of his specialities was doing electrical repairs just in public toilets because he said he was kind of freelance and it was one of those jobs that nobody likes because it's toilets. So it was just a job for him. It was Jerry Barbender. That's who it was. Oh, Pugster Josh. Don't forget the toilet thought you were two people. The founder said he couldn't use it either and offered to send me a radar key. I used to wear around my neck. She would go to sleep for hours. Are they warm? It was Barbender. It was Horovac. Jerry Barbender. Bit of a geek. He sent me loads of stuff and it's just like every time I find it, it's like, oh, it feels uncomfortable. Ah. But he had a Japanese wife. I think she took it really badly because they were real soulmates. He spent a lot of time in Japan doing sign maintenance as well as the UK. He had a very odd life. Put Big Clive round your neck will keep you warm. That would break Scruff Dog, probably. He'd be crushed betwixt my thighs. Snakes are cold-blooded and just cold. She warmed up with my body heat. Oh, right, okay. See, that's not so nice. It's basically a heat thief like a cat, isn't it? Comes and steals all your heat. Japan does have some great looking signs indeed. How'd he die? Cancer, unfortunately. And when he knew he was going, he kind of took a trip back home and emptied his house out, got prepared, and sent me a box of stuff. And it's just like, every time I come across it, I just feel uncomfortable about it. But I know it's basically he sent me a bit of his hoard to save it, and so it has to be treasured. Cats are heat donors, not so sure about that. I have featured some of the items he sent, including the little Japanese sign lamp. Ah. I love the Piccadilly London neon signs now. It's all the signs, nuts and proud. The LED signs are just boring. I mean, they sometimes put good content on them, but they lack a dedicated sign. It's just too easy just to have generic content on LED video wall. It's a bit trash. Same as Las Vegas. Cats are heat donors, yes. Oh, right, okay. Are you sure it's not just because they're like a wee fluffy pillow? I can't do that with little Hutchie. Hutchie is unpettable. You can stroke her to a degree, but definitely not a lap cat. Fortesk Gimlet, greetings, it is I. Perfect timing. There are 3 minutes of the stream to go. But it may go on a bit longer. Sometimes it does. Walking insulation, that's it, evolution. Kitties. How are the kitties? Kitties are good, Jeffrey Waldo. Little Hutchie is looking very well fed and not bothering too much about food because she's obviously getting fed by quite a lot of people in the neighbourhood. And she's got her winter wool on. She's really fluffy up and quite happy. Kubor, definitely not a lap cat. I agree, you got one of those, absolutely. Little Hutchie is kind of semi-feral, so she'll accept a certain amount of petting, but you don't get to pick her up. Or there'll be hissing and claws. I'm going to get another can of beer. That means I have to go on a bit longer. I'll go until 5:30 and then Proplin and Woofle then. She could say get your own cat. No. It's fine, I can just borrow. How did Hutch get her name? Dunno, Kevin Hardesty. That's her official name. When I first moved in here, there was always a brown cat up in the tree, and that was China. And I called it the tree cat, and I was worried because I thought, why is there always that cat up in the tree? And it's so friendly. Did it live here? Did the previous owner abandon their cat? And then I saw a sign in the local vets, missing cats, Hutchie and China. Hutchie's the mum. I should say China's the mum, Hutchie's the daughter cat. And I phoned the number and said, I found your cats. And she said, oh, I know. Yes, they just treat this place like a hotel. It turns out that she had adopted these cats that were strayed. Something happened with China Hutchie in the past. Let's guess that China... Hutchie was probably found in a hutch, rabbit hutch or something like that. That's the only thing I can think. But I contacted her and she said, oh yeah, I know where they are. They just treat the place like a hotel. And it turns out she had dogs and the new cats didn't settle into the dogs too well. So they just basically set up shack in my neighbour's garage. And not long after seeing China, suddenly the little kitten appeared too, Hutchie. Because she's never really been overly petted, she just doesn't really accept much petting. She's an independent kitty. I'm going to grab another beer then. One moment, please. I just poured that all down the beard. It's a beard. Let's go for a Madre, since it's apparently unsuitable for carbonation. In my experience, boy cats are far softer than girl cats. I prefer the male cats, David Reader. They tend to be less feisty. They tend to be more chilled and laid back, like Ralph's cats are. I've beard my beard. It is a beard without an A. But, little Hutchie, as soon as I go out, she just makes a beeline for me. I think it's just her natural instinct to find kitty treats. She has been bribed with kitty treats. I need to order more catnip. I'm running out of catnip for her. Nuts and Browd, enjoy your beer. ChatGPT supposedly offer a $20 a month priority sub. Ah. Can you keep going until 21:05 on Saturday, please? No, George Philpott. That would be quite a long stream. I could do it, but it wouldn't be great. I'd run out of conversation. ChatGPT, I have tested it. I wasn't impressed by its technical answers. I asked it what the liquid was in glitter lamps. It has to be, typically it is calcium nitrate. It's not, I've tried everything else at glycols and it's not, they don't support the glitter. And it came back and said it's a mineral oil or a glycol. And it was like, no, it's not. What's the other thing I asked it that was unimpressed with the answer? It was the failure mode of certain capacitors and it was kind of vague. And what was the other thing that it just got completely wrong? Oh, I can't remember. I did try the DALL-E, and it came up with some very weird results. I also upset it by ChatGPT knows me and Ralphie because I tested that, and I typed in stained glass depicting a cat electrician, and it was fairly convincing. It was very good. The cat was wearing overalls. It was in the style of stained glass, but it had a chisel. More like a cat joiner. But having said that, I let it off that because in the early days, the first wooden trunking for cables was wood. In fact, there was no insulation. It was just wooden channels with bare wires in them. Do you have to register to use it? You have to give it your email address and your phone number. I think it's mainly Star Delta. I think it's to stop people cashing in on ChatGPT by using it as their own service from their website. But when I typed in stained glass in the depicting a dominatrix, it did not like that. No, it refused to do that. ChatGPT gives wrong answers. It does. It struck me as it's like 1 minute research on the internet. It looked like flat earther type science. ChatGPT wouldn't generate art for me. Try DALL-E, which is on the AI website, OpenAI. I tried generating barely pornography by asking for a man with a black beard and overalls, and it came out with something very weird, including like he would look up the way, and there's one eye pointing one way, one the other, and the mouth was a sine wave, and it was like, what the fuck is that? It was not good. But anyway, AI is young. Give it time and it will be quite scarily accurate, I would expect. It's young. It will learn. Oh, I remember Eliza, Nuts Proud, the chat type computer program. Can't wank to that, evolution, no. Then I found the Turkish fisherman. Everything was fine. I asked ChatGPT for things to do. It suggested I had to walk along a busy railway viaduct. Excellent. GeoHJQ. Do you know, that reminds me of the time that some of a mother and daughter asked Alexa for a challenge, and it told them to stick a penny down the back of a plug. Amazing. And then it, and then they said, "We've removed that now. Yes, we've filtered that out." That's a challenge. The penny challenge. Mm. But the DALL-E produced interesting art. I was quite impressed. I'd also told it to depict in the because the stained glass was quite a nice look. Stained glass depicting a cat warrior, and it was the cat warrior with its like big sword. It was pretty good, impressive. Did I just activate the alert? Aha. What is the program generates decent art? Now there's Midjourney, I believe, but their DALL-E is pretty impressive. It does, but it will produce very mixed results. You typically get 4 images, and then you can choose to go with one of those styles. But it's very good. It's impressive. Some of the sci-fi stuff is just mind-bogglingly good. Midjourney is a good AI image generator too. Alexa just gave me that penny challenge. That's Clive. Really? Did it really just do that? That's good. It's good to know Alexa still knows how to do the penny challenge. It doesn't work here. Although, having said that, do you remember Electroboom wrapping a bit of wire around Live and Neutral and blowing the socket up in the hotel? That was great. ChatGPT will probably be used to generate political speeches. It might as well, because they're empty. It sounds good, doesn't matter if it doesn't do any fact checking. Peter Grant, it was interesting that they actually found that when asked to do some research, ChatGPT provided vague and unprovable references. And it made me think of the flat earthers and the anti-5G campaigners. Rifleman, I'm guessing, is off to bed. I shall see you perhaps on Saturday. A friend's cat once leapt off the balcony. I forget how many floors. It broke off 4 legs and plastered for ages. That's not so great. Alexa just gave the push-up challenge now. Excellent. Oh, I've tried ChatGPT a bit yesterday. Even knows the World of Warcraft API and can generate almost a complete add-on. I mean, it's as I say, it's the early days. I think the artificial intelligent ChatGPT is going to evolve over time. But the biggest worry I have is that if it gives misinformation and then people present that themselves as authoritative information on websites, then ChatGPT is going to find those websites and feed off its own misinformation. But we'll see what happens. Yeah, the Archimedes and the BBC Micro, yeah. It was only for rich people. Sausage Special, I've heard people say they've used ChatGPT to generate bullshit corporate reports and use them. I could imagine that. I think it would be really great for doing risk assessments because nobody ever reads them anyway. You know, ChatGPT, do me an NIC EIC electrical installation report. You keep waking up my... Okay, I'll try not to do that, Kevin Hardesty. I was stuck this Sinclair in a microdrive. There's nothing wrong with that, Nuts and Proud. They're very good. AI is a tool you need to tell people to tell what they want, otherwise it's useless. Indeed, properly trained AI is going to be interesting. I get the feeling that people will, out of malice, mistrain it, deliberately feed it misinformation just because they're bastards. But it's interesting. But it's pretty good that you can ask stuff directly and get interest. I mean, okay, Google, I found it very useful. I don't leave chat recognition enabled all the time. because I don't want listen to all the time. Although having said that, is it listening anyway? I don't know. Alexander Davis, good morning to you. Hope you slept well. Sleep is nice. It's kind of important, yes. Early 80s computer, the floppy disk, a floppy disk. I prefer the floppy disk, to be honest, and that's proud was my dream. Absolutely. Those computers we hankered after because they were unaffordable back then. Now they're not even as powerful as a Raspberry Pi. Mr. Murgy, ChatGPT is as some of our secret corporate knowledge managers are concerned. Hilarious. Do you know, I've always thought that the AI would be just great to unleash on people's accounts and see how much fraud they were committing and what companies they had and what they were doing. It will happen. Nobody will be safe. Great Master, shitty cheap LEDs, no chip, just a dead short. Really? That's amazing. It's a fuse. Like no chip at all in the LED. It's just basically the bond is straight onto the reflector. I've never heard of that. That's pretty impressive. Hooray, thing has been fixed, beer is now permitted, Lone Penguin says. Good to hear things have been fixed and you may now have beer. Cheers. ChatGPT writes good poetry. Excellent. It will be good. It may in fact be a good whistleblower. Maybe too good, Mr. Margie. Let's use it on HMRC before they use it on us. Alexander Davis, my alarm went off at 7 a.m. so I can listen to you, but it's now 10. That's reasonable enough. Sleep is better. Yes, only one electrode and a lead with the bond directly between the anvil and the stick. It will emit light if with enough current. Is there such a thing as good poetry? No, Evolution. There is no such thing as good poetry. It's just pretentious. 2 minutes to go till past. We will end on a woofle. It will end this time, and then I shall return on Saturday. Assuming something terrible doesn't happen in between. But I don't think it will. Ask a Vogon. No, let's not ask the Vogon for their poetry, Mr. Margie. Laurie21 says, hello, Big Clive. Hello, people. See, every time just about to finish, someone turns up. Oh, Fred Old Grunt Bugley. Was worth joining the last part of the session. Enjoyed it, Fortesque Gimlet says. And I will be back on Saturday. Maybe I should try doing one at a different time of the day, but I don't really know what the best time is. And will I be awake then? Who knows? English teach the gods of overanalyzing poetry. They have to, Pugster Josh. At school, we were forced to learn things like My Last Duchess, and it's like a really amazing poetry because it doesn't rhyme. It's like, then it's not fucking poetry, is it? Awful. Let's just ruin people's careers by failing them in English because they don't like shit poetry and frickin' Shakespeare. No, David Reader, I'm not going to keep going until 9 p.m. tomorrow. The voice would go. Also, I have to release that video to you guys on the mystical cube. I'm going to have to watch it first. I'm going to have to watch my own video. That's such a grind. I've already seen it. I made it. I'm going to have to watch it again so I can find out if I've made some terrible mistakes in it. What are you doing straight after this? Make a video or something? Editing a video, Ian Cooper. By editing, I mean simply putting the text in, giving it a little story, and then just release it, hopefully. If the video sounds and looks okay and doesn't need re-recorded. Just pick a time, go with it. Make it at the extreme even if it's only 36 minutes. Or just randomly, without warning, appear and do a stream, Jason Green. People do turn up. On closer inspection, is an empty reflector dab of phosphor or paint, but the bond wire seems to jump over the reflector. I don't think it would be paint, I think it would be phosphor. But the bond wire seems to jump over the reflector. Is it all of them, or is it just one or two, Craig Matthews? Has anyone been in contact with Mr. Fur? I'm not sure how Fur Bear's doing, Liz. Don't know. It is a bit worrying, is it not? Ah. Woofles are so waffly versatile. They are. They're so waffly versatile. Ah, Mr. Margay got a clean bill of health from the doctor appointment. This is good. It's time for a woofle. And then I'll be back on Saturday. Oh, I'm getting so stiff and achy. Is it a winter thing or am I just getting old? Probably I'm just getting old. This is quite annoying. Very frustrating. The body is worn out with excessive work. Woofle. Not helped by my size. Woofle. And with that, I'm going to take my big pink light bulb and insert it into a lamp holder and then drop it. It's down the floor now. Yes, take it apart in a video at some point. I am getting worn out and a little older, Jason Green. It apparently happens. Fortunately, you can get replacement components these days. In the meantime, I shall see you on Saturday. I shall be back. Maybe I'll even have the clock back in position. Not really sure. But until then, have a nice day and don't work too hard.